Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Let's start our lecture number 5 from the chapter number 3, the individual demand for education, under the course of economics and financing of education, EDUC 4124. The agenda of today's lecture is an introduction about social rate of return approach. Social rate of return approach as a guide to policy making, identifying the cost and benefits, and some criticism on social rate of return towards educational planning. When we say that social rate of return is a good approach towards measuring the benefits that are associated with education and how likely this approach is helpful to guide the policy making, that on the basis of the results of social rate of return we can develop a policy, and the concepts which are important to learn here are relevant to cost and benefits. So it is criticized at the end that social rate of return towards educational planning is facing some criticism. Why it is so? Before starting the lecture, there must be some one or two things clear in your minds, that education, whenever dealt in the economic terms, it is a subjective term. So the returns on education are not in pecuniary form always. Monetary benefits are there, but there are so many non-monetary benefits associated with education. So social rate of return approach, whenever applied to education, we face some issues. Those are will be taught in criticism. But how likely this approach is claiming that it can measure the returns on education, and those returns and those estimated returns can be applied on policy while developing the policy, and the differentiation between cost and benefits will be clear. So we are clear that benefits on education are not always monetary. Those are other benefits as well. We have talked about in the chapter number 2 as well. Can you name what are the benefits on spending on education? Number 1, we will get a good job in future. But what else? Good job in the future, it is your individual benefit, and on the part of society, productivity of the organization will be improved wherever you will be working while being educated. But otherwise, educated people have so many other benefits to them as well as to their surroundings. So starting from the introduction and social rate of return as a guide to policy making, what does it say? The rate of return approach to evaluating investment in education can be applied to social spending in much the same way as to private spending. The way you spend on education, this is your investment. In this case, we are measuring the profitability of society and the total benefits enjoyed by the society. So if we spend on education, what are the benefits towards society? The discount rate, it is the definition, the discount rate of return that makes the net present value of the benefit is called the social rate of return. So it says, by applying the discount rate, रियायती कीमत हम ये निकालें कि कितना डिस्काउंट रेट है, रेट ऑफ रिटर्न कितना आ रहा है, और अब एंड पे नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू क्या है हमारी जब हम तालीम पे पैसा लगाएंगे, तो सोसाइटी को क्या क्या फ़ायदा होगा, ये अप्रोच ये मेजर करती है, विच इज़ नोन एज सोशल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न. द सोशल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न टू एजुकेशन स्पेंडिंग कैन सर्व एज अ गाइड टू एलोकेशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज. Why we can say that it is helpful for policy making? While allocation of the resources, we need some data that where to allocate resources. So this is one approach that provides us some data between the education sector and the other sectors of economy, and also within the education sector itself. So having scarcity of resources, we need to prioritize that if whether to spend on education sector or not, number one, and if yes we need to spend on educational sector, then what are the within sub sectors in education where we need to spend first, then second, then third. So there is an hierarchy. So social rate of return provides you some kind of data on which you can make some policy. Resources should be allocated away from those areas of spending that are yielding low results, low returns, towards those yielding or resulting higher returns. It is understood हम वहीं पैसा लगाते हैं जहाँ से हमें ज़्यादा फ़ायदा होता है. रिजल्टिंग लो रिजल्ट्स जहाँ पे आएंगे, लो रिटर्न्स जहाँ पे आएंगे, वी विल बी लाइकली हैविंग लेस इन्वेस्टमेंट देयर, और जहाँ से हमें ज़्यादा रिटर्न्स आ रहे हैं हम वहाँ ज़्यादा पैसे लगाएंगे. तो सोशल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न measures that which segment, which sector is providing you more returns. Social rate of return as a guide to policy making. It says that social rate of return are relevant to resource allocation where the aim is to plan public expenditure by economic criteria. And although the results are unlikely to provide the decision maker with conclusive answers, they do nevertheless help to identify policy issues that might otherwise remain concealed and indicate the relative cost and benefit involved in reallocating resources between different educational sectors. So basically, whenever we are concerned with allocation of resources, we are very much careful. Decision making is not based on one factor. So out of so many factors, that where to spend and where not to spend and where to reallocate the resources, this is the approach that provides us some information and guideline. The policy issues can be grouped as follows. So these slides give you so many examples that where we need to spend. Resources for allocation have to be diverted from other uses. पैसा है हम उसको कहीं पे भी लगा सकते हैं, बट विद इन द एजुकेशन कहाँ पे लगाना है, इस बात का हमें अंदाज़ा इस चीज़ की गाइडलाइन हमें रेट ऑफ रिटर्न अप्रोच से मिलती है. जहाँ रिटर्न ज़्यादा अच्छे हैं वहाँ पे लगाना अच्छा है. एज्यूमिंग लिमिटेड टोटल रिसोर्सेज, हमें पहले ही पता है कि रिसोर्सेज लिमिटेड है. दीज यूजेस में इंक्लूड फॉर एग्जांपल एक्सपेंडिचर ऑन बिल्डिंग अ न्यू स्टेट, building a new motorway, or building a new hospital. So there are three alternatives. The government before has to decide how to allocate its expenditure between these different policy options. In general, rate of return analysis has been less well developed to deal with decisions of allocation between different social policy areas such as housing, education and health than in decision related to those parts of the public sector where goods are marketed, such as nationalized industries. It says that within these social policy areas, it is difficult to decide that housing, health, education, these are the sectors where to spend. But otherwise, whenever allocation of resources is subjected, we can take some guideline from social rate of return approach. Rate of return analysis provides one method of helping governments to make choices between the alternative forms of social expenditures. Again, it says that there are so many choices at where we can spend money, but out of those choices, which is the best option, which is the best decision, it is guided by some data provided by this approach called social rate of return approach. Choices have to be made. Here again it says that we have to make choices, and out of those choices we have to make decisions. So how likely we can compare those choices and we can take best decision regarding allocation of resources. For example, expenditures on different levels of education. हमने प्राइमरी सतह पे पैसा लगाना है, एलिमेंट्री पे लगाना है, सेकेंडरी पे लगाना है, हायर सेकेंडरी, ग्रेजुएशन, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन, यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल पे लगाना है, फिर यूनिवर्सिटी में किस सेक्टर में लेवल पे लगाना है, सच एज ग्रेजुएट और पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन प्रोविजन. Expenditures on different types of courses such as full time या part time. There are different alternatives which has some comparison. Full time, part time, graduation, post graduation, different levels of education, expenditure on provision of places in different subject or science or arts, medicines, different institution में university or polytechnic institutions, or men or women education. So gender wise, science and arts discipline wise, part time or full time wise, there are so many alternatives. These are the choices. Choices have to be made, and then we need to select the appropriate one where we need to spend and allocate our resources. Now there are two concepts of benefit and cost. Till here we have gone through that what is social rate of return and what are the utility of this approach. Now see the difference between cost and benefit. Benefit, starting from benefits. When social rate of return are calculated, the economic benefits that are measured are the increase in output that result to society from the increased productivity of educated people. So in the context of education, we see that what is the increase in our output. We have already spent on education, and now we see that what is our return on it. Return is in the form of output. Input तो लगा दी, यानी पैसा तालीम पे लगा दिया. अब output को देखने से पता लगेगा कि what is the increment in our output by educating the people. Their productivity may have been increased, but it is not a case in the private rate of return, because private rate of return adds some net post tax and other earnings as well. So simple is that. Benefit क्या है? Benefit is the increase in the output as a result. In the context of education, it is a result of increased productivity by educated people. And what is the concept of cost? It has two types: direct cost and indirect cost. So we can say that differentiation is important here. We need to know. Under direct cost, there are two types of cost: recurrent cost and capital cost. So see these one by one. Recurrent cost means these include the institutional cost of teacher salaries, administration, the value of equipment and materials, and the cost of research. Whatever is going on within the institution on that period of time, that specific period of time, recurring means occurring on that time. These data are usually first collected on the basis of an average annual cost per student. आप सब पे लगाए गए पैसों में हर बच्चे के ऊपर कितना खर्चा आ रहा है यूनिवर्सिटी का, वो तमाम उधर की मौजूदा ज़माने के मुताबिक वो उसकी रेकरेंट कॉस्ट है. एंड कैपिटल कॉस्ट उनकी सालाना कॉस्ट है, या कह लें आप एग्रीगेट है. दीज आर बेस्ड ऑन द कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट नीडिंग टू क्रिएट फैसिलिटीज एंड बिल्डिंग्स फॉर अ न्यू स्टूडेंट प्लेस. If you create something and you spend for the first time and that goes on for the lifetime, the life of such building once created might well be 60 years or more. So once created will serve for so many other years. That is your capital cost. Total direct cost, अब इन दोनों को मिलाने से शायद टोटल बनेगी. देखते हैं कैसे कहता है ये. Total direct cost are found by adding together recurrent and capital cost. Most of these direct costs are met from public expenditure, which is why they are included in calculating social rate of return, but excluded in calculating private rate of return. So do not confuse private rate of return here. Just focus on what is social rate of return. Social rate of return, it says that it includes both recurrent and capital cost. Whenever we add recurrent and capital cost, that it makes the total cost. And through this we measure that what is the public expenditure, and we measure that what are the social rate of return in the form of total direct cost. And indirect cost, which has some imputed value of output. Indirect cost means which is invisible and not invisible but estimated cost, you can say. These consist of imputed value of output or production foregone by society while students are in higher education rather than at work. अभी आप पढ़ रहे हैं लेकिन आप काम नहीं कर रहे, तो वो तमाम कॉस्ट जो आपके पढ़ने की जगह पे दूसरा काम ना करने की वजह से फॉरगॉन है, उसका भी अगर हम एस्टिमेट लगाएं तो वो इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट में आ सकता है. द इम्प्यूटेड वैल्यू इज यूजुअली डिराइव्ड बाय टेकिंग द अर्निंग्स दैट स्टूडेंट्स माइट हैव बीन पेड हैड दे एंटर्ड द लेबर फोर्स विद द प्रीसीडिंग क्वालिफिकेशंस. जो आपकी गुज़िश्ता तालीम है उसके साथ अगर आप फौरन जॉब में आ जाते तो उस पे से आप जो अर्न करते वो तमाम कॉस्ट कितनी होती एस्टिमेटेड अगर हम लगा लें, उसकी बुनियाद उसको छोड़ के आप पढ़ रहे हैं तो ये आप लोगों की इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट है जो नज़र नहीं आ रही, जो अगर करते जॉब तो होती. टोटल रिसोर्स कॉस्ट आर द डायरेक्ट कॉस्ट एंड द एवरेज एनुअल इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट. ये दोनों में शामिल है, डायरेक्ट कॉस्ट में और एवरेज एनुअल इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट मिलके आपकी टोटल कॉस्ट बनाती हैं. और यहाँ इम्प्यूटेड वैल्यू का उसने दोबारा जिक्र किया है कि वो हमने पीछे बात की थी. तो इम्प्यूटेड वैल्यू वो होती है जो कि एस्टिमेटेड वैल्यू होती है. व्हेन द एक्चुअल वैल्यू इज नॉट नोन और अवेलेबल एंड यू मेक एन एस्टिमेशन. सो there were two types of cost, direct and indirect. Direct has recurrent and capital, and indirect is your estimated cost. And it is very difficult to measure in the context of education. How can you measure that what is the estimated cost when you are here to get further qualification, and if you have forgone the option of doing a job, then what will be the estimated cost here? Now we are going to start some criticism. These are some points which explain the social criticism of social rate of return and policy indicators. It says these are 7 points. One by one we will see these. It says that social rate of return is not such an approach which provides you complete data to guide the policy, because it is a limited approach, and in the context of education we cannot rely on its utility fully. We can rely on it, but we cannot. This is not the only approach from which we can take guideline for policy making. Number 1, data. Number 2 is cross sectional analysis. Then it says consumption benefits, the alpha coefficient value, marginal product and wages, indirect benefits, and policy implication. Let's start with the point 1, data. In order to calculate rate of return, detailed information on earnings by age and qualification is required, as well as information on cost of education provision. So the data is missing. The data social rate of return approach requires is missing in the context of education. हमारे पास डाटा ही नहीं है जिससे हमें ये पता लगे कि कितने लोग हैं बाय एज क्या कमा रहे हैं और उनकी किस क्वालिफिकेशन की बुनियाद पे वो इतना कमा रहे हैं. और ये इन्फॉर्मेशन भी नहीं है कि उन्होंने प्रोविजन ऑफ एजुकेशन पे कितनी कॉस्ट स्पेंड की है. हर एक जैसी कॉस्ट स्पेंड नहीं करता. ऑल्दो आपकी फ़ी सेम है, लेकिन फिर भी आप में से कुछ होंगे जो स्कॉलरशिप लेके बैठे हुए हैं, कुछ आप में से ऐसे होंगे जो प्रोविजन ऑफ एजुकेशन में डिफरेंट तरह से स्पेंड कर रहे हैं. Without these data, social rate of return cannot be properly calculated, and the use of shortcut and proxy measure may lead to biased results and incorrect policy implications. So it says data is not available on which we can rely to guide the policy. Next, second criticism point says cross-sectional analysis. Ideally, an approach should provide a data which is cross-sectionally applicable. But this social rate of return do not provide you cross-sectional analysis data. So again it is criticized that calculation of rates of return are usually based on a snapshot, brief overview of the age earnings relationship existing at one point of time, and it is keep on changing. आज के ज़माने में जिसको एक क्वालिफिकेशन पे जॉब मिल जाती है, कल के ज़माने में शायद उसको उसी क्वालिफिकेशन पे सेम अर्निंग की जॉब ना मिले, या ज़माना चेंज ना भी हो, पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम की अगर बात ना भी हो, प्लेस चेंज हो जाए, सेक्शन चेंज हो जाए. क्रॉस सेक्शनल अगर हम एनालिसिस करना चाहें तो भी मुश्किल है इस अप्रोच की बुनियाद पे आया हुआ डाटा ये फंक्शन प्रोवाइड नहीं करता. इकोनॉमिक्स ग्रो and change dramatically, often in a very short space of time. And for this reason, social rate of return may also change. Societies keep on changing day by day. Similarly, the economics is growing, so we cannot say that we can make cross-sectional analysis on the basis of social rate of return data. It is a short-time marginal technique and can only be a guide to the way resources should be allocated at a margin. And on an estimation, how can we allocate some resources, the scarce resources? This is the utility of this approach. Otherwise, it says that it is a criticism that it does not provide cross-sectional analysis function. Number third is consumption benefits. Consumptions mean there are so many expenditures जब आप तालीम पे पैसा लगा रहे हैं which are consumable, and we do not calculate those consumable expenditures while calculating the benefits of education. So in this way we somehow overstate or understate the education cost. This is how we ignore the consumption benefits. So this approach is not appropriate. It does not calculate the consumption benefits in total. Next is alpha coefficient value. Alpha coefficient value is measured through a formula which is not shown here, but it says that alpha coefficient is that proportion of the increased earning of the more educated ones, that is the result of their additional education. तालीम की वजह से किसी की अर्निंग में जितना इजाफा होता है वो कोफिशिएंट अल्फा कोफिशिएंट वैल्यू से मेजर होती है. तो ये टेक्निक उन सबको भी पूरे से कैलकुलेट करने से कासिर है. जब हम फील्ड में जाके लोगों की अर्निंग के ऊपर वर्क करेंगे तो हमारे पास ये डाटा कहाँ से आएगा कि ये इनकी प्रोडक्टिविटी इनकी तालीम की वजह से है या इनकी अदर्स किसी करेक्टरिस्टिक की वजह से है, उनकी स्किल है या क्या है. तो अदर फैक्टर्स को ये मेजर नहीं करता और अल्फा कोफिशिएंट की ट्रू वैल्यू को मेजर नहीं करता. नंबर 5 क्रिटिसिज्म ये है कि सोशल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट्स एंड वेजेस का अंदाजा नहीं लगाता, के बारे में प्रॉपर इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड नहीं करता. कैलकुलेशन ऑफ सोशल रेट्स ऑफ रिटर्न इज्यूम दैट वेज जो सैलरी आपको मिलनी है बाद में अर्निंग में, और अर्निंग may be used as a proxy or for productivity. The reason for making this assumption is that the labor markets are assumed to be competitive. So labor market के challenges day by day बढ़ रहे हैं, तो हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि जितना आप का रिटर्न है, ये जो वेज स्ट्रक्चर थेरी है, वेज डिटर्मिनेशन थेरी को आप थोड़ा सा इसमें पढ़ें तो आपको पता लगेगा कि इट इज डायरेक्टली रिलेटेड टू योर qualification and skill somewhere. There is disagreement between economists about whether the higher earnings of educated people really can be taken as a measure of the direct economic benefits of education, or whether these are in fact only reflect imperfection in the labor market. So it says that there is not a consensus on that education is the only measure of perfection among workers. As first approximation and in the absence of any other general theory of distribution, there may be no reason to suppose that. This is a debate that educated workers will be paid consistently more or less than their marginal product, at least in the private sector. So this is not to deny that there are market imperfections so that marginal products can be accurately measured in all occupations, especially those in the public sector. So it says the rate of return in private sector is different from the public sector, and the qualification and the labor market requirements are different. So marginal products and wages cannot be determined by this approach. Some indirect benefits. It says indirect monetary benefits are the increased earnings, benefits that accrue to other than those receiving extra education. इतना तो हमें पता है कि जिसकी एक्स्ट्रा क्वालिफिकेशन है तो वो एक्स्ट्रा बेनिफिट्स भी somehow avail कर रहा है. These indirect monetary benefits accrue mainly in two ways through increments in the current earnings of workers other than the educated. Educating some workers raises the productivity of others. So through increment in the future earnings of the subsequent generations resulting from a better educated present generation benefits which accrue to the future family of the educated. We examine each of these in turn. Employment related external benefits. इसको भी ये सही तरह मैयर नहीं करता. हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि हर employment related external benefits are associated with education. So the decisions regarding qualified manpower, labor force and the productivity and earnings, those are indirect benefits and these cannot be based on estimated basing on applying this approach social rate of return. इनडायरेक्ट बेनिफिट्स वैसे भी हमने पीछे पढ़े ना इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट में कि वो होते हैं जो बज़ाहिर नजर नहीं आ रहे. आप अगर जॉब कर रहे होते तो कितना अर्न करते, उसकी कॉस्ट पे अब आप पढ़ रहे हैं तो वो एस्टिमेटेड अर्निंग हम अगर जहन में रखें वो उसकी वैल्यू चाहिए सोशल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न को मैयर करते हुए. तो वो एस्टिमेटेड हर इंडिविजुअल के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में फ़र्क होगी, हर लेबर मार्केट के हवाले से वो फ़र्क होगी. तो उसकी बुनियाद पे वी कैन नॉट एस्टिमेट द employment related external benefits. So in this approach indirect benefits cannot be measured accurately. Number 7 is last is policy implications. Overall in this slide we will conclude that how this criticism made in the above slides is true or somehow not accurate to guide the policy. Criticism has been made of social rate of return analysis stems not from the conceptual basis of the techniques but from the desirable policy implications that may stem from results of social rate of return. It says that not only for the policy implications but also from where this approach has been started and stemmed, both are targeted. The technique cannot take account the political, social, cultural and educational reasons for educational spending and therefore may indicate educational policies that are deemed undesirable. So all the decisions related to or basing on political, social and cultural or educational based reasons, this is not a fully approach. Educational planners will always have to weigh the rate of return result against other considerations before deciding a policy. This is a positive point. That while planning the policy, planners need some data, some information that on which sector among so many alternatives which is the best option. They need some information to compare the alternatives to know the future returns. So this is one positive point that it says that this approach weighs the rate of return against so many considerations and it provides policy making some data so that they can decide the policy. Social rate of return results are but one input into the decision making process. अगर डिसीजन लेते हुए 100 चीज़ों को 100 फैक्टर्स को देखना हो, बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स को देखना हो, तो जो सोशल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न भी अपनी कंट्रीब्यूशन करती है और हमें एक इनपुट बताती है कि यहाँ पे लगाने से इतना पैसा आएगा फ्यूचर में. लेकिन इट इज़ डिजायरेबल दैट बिफोर पॉलिसी इज डिसाइडेड ऑल रेलिवेंट इंफॉर्मेशन इंक्लूडिंग रेट ऑफ रिटर्न रिजल्ट्स शुड बी एग्जामिन्ड. दिस इज द कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क्स that it says that all the relevant information is required. जब हम पॉलिसी बनाते हैं तो हमें बहुत सारी चीज़ों की इंफॉर्मेशन की ज़रूरत होती है, और सोशल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न अप्रोच उनमें से कुछ चीज़ों के बारे में हमें ज़रूर डाटा देती है. सो वी कैन नॉट इग्नोर दिस अप्रोच, बट वी कैन नॉट फुल्ली रिलाई ऑन दिस अप्रोच, क्योंकि इसके ऊपर क्रिटिसाइज बहुत ज़्यादा किया गया. ये शॉर्ट लिव्ड है, टाइम बाउंड है, टाइम टू टाइम सोसाइटी एंड इकोनॉमिक्स और लेबर मार्केट की रिक्वायरमेंट्स चेंज होती जा रही हैं, और एजुकेशन के रिटर्न्स को मैयर करना मुश्किल है, सारे रिटर्न्स को मैयर करना. इसलिए से पॉलिसी मेकिंग के दौरान दिस अप्रोच कैन बी यूज्ड, शुड बी यूज्ड एज वन इनपुट, बट इट शुड नॉट सोली और ओनली बी रिलाइड ऑन. इससे आया हुआ डाटा फायदा तो देगा, लेकिन सिर्फ इससे आए हुए डाटा की बुनियाद पे फुल पॉलिसी बना लेना ठीक नहीं है. सो दिस इज एन अप्रोच दैट मेजर्स द रेट्स ऑफ रिटर्न ऑन एजुकेशन. सो ओवरव्यू ऑफ द लेक्चर, वी कैन सी दैट इन दिस लेक्चर वी हैव known the idea of social rate of return approach, that what it says and what are the returns on spending on education. Then we have seen the difference between cost and benefits, some policy implications and criticism on social rate of return as an approach. I hope you have understood the concepts being taught here. Thank you.